Hello and welcome to the videocast, and this month 12 top tips for visual aids in 4 minutes. Now with such a short time you might be thinking I better get on with this, but my first point is you're the main visual aid. Engage the audience, look them in the eye, ask them questions, get them to ask you questions. The slides are secondary to that main line of connection. The second point linked to the first point is don't script the presentation in PowerPoint. Often I hear people say things like, I will have an introductory slide, then I'll have 3 slides in this, then 1 each on each of these things, then 2 more on. Don't do that. If you structure it in PowerPoint, if you plan it in PowerPoint, the structure will be all wrong and you'll end up reading off your own slides, and so will the audience. Write it out in a piece of paper, what you want to say and the tools you're going to use to help you say that, and have points marked as to when you're going to bring in the slides. Also, I meant this point before, don't turn the lights off. It's symptomatic of the idea that the screen is king. It's not, you are. You're the most important thing. It's really annoying, don't do it. Make the images full screen where possible. This is 2 things. Firstly, it forces a logic in the presentation. The audience knows what they're looking at that point in time and why, because they're hearing you talk about it. And secondly, it's annoying when the image, or it diminishes the energy of the image when it's telescoped within a template that's busy with lots of other stuff. Let it fill the screen. On a big screen in a lecture theatre or in a room or in an office, it can be quite cinematic when you do that. Good quality images are very important. Oddly, an audience will tolerate lower quality jerky video because it's a sort of like watching something on the news, but for still images, make them clean and clear. One of the filters I use in Google Images is image size, and I usually go for at least 800 pixels wide or bigger, and that should give you a clean enough image on a big screen. Don't use loads and loads and loads of text where you don't need to. Use, I said this 100 times, I'll say it 100 more, use images by all means, they add value. Use graphs, use diagrams, use figures, because they help you to tell a story, but do not fill your slides with text. If you do have bullet points in slides, and often you will, and it will give you a certain logic or structure or spine that you can talk around, remove the filler words. There are always extra words that are doing no work, that are just really padding. Reduce it down to a single iFix phrase if you can. Linked to that, for the shortened bullets that you do use, you can usually add visual emphasis to them. You can make the text more visual. In other words, use visual elements to enhance bullet points if you do have to use them. One animation I use over and over again in PowerPoint is to fade out the back. If you do have an image, complicated image or diagram, and you want to remove the background and bring something to the fore, you can put white rectangles or shapes on top of the elements that you want to fade out and make those semi-transparent, and it will have the effect of fading out what happens behind them. Here's one simple tip. If you're in the middle of a slideshow, here's one here, you can kill the slideshow or kill the slide by pressing Shift B, and then get it back again by pressing Shift B again. And it's good if you get asked a question or you want to break into a discussion, just to knock that off quickly without having to script it into your PowerPoint. Don't stand in front of your screen. That's a piece of advice that's often given. Well, I say do stand in front of the screen. Stand in front of the screen when you want to be part of your own visual aids. We talked about this in a video cast last month, where you can interact with your own visuals and animate and explain and point. As long as you're not standing in front of the same people the whole time, you can be part of the animation within your own slide. It's a very effective technique and much better than one of those annoying laser pointers. One great tip I got from a guest speaker on my own course once was, think about your last slide. That's probably going to be there the longest, because you go on to Q&A afterwards and this thing will be stuck up behind your head. What do you want the audience to see last? Is it your contact details? Is it the most interesting example from your presentation that you want them to ask questions on? What is it that you want to leave them with? And with that in mind,